What's up, guys? Upstart41 here, coming at you with my friend Kyle here, who got second place in this last tournament that we just had. We just had Trevor's deck profile for Silent Grades. Now we got Kyle's deck. Sorry.
Sky Strikers. I did wind up getting second. I probably could have gotten first, but I misplayed horribly in game 3, and that's my bad. So, Sky Strikers, so 3-ray. Honestly, a simply amazing card because of the way she interacts with the rest of the deck. You open her and either the field spell or multi-roll, and you get both your Link monster and whatever effect that card gets you. So from there we go straight to hand traps. I run 9 hand traps in the main deck, which is a lot, but they do save me quite a lot. I get sometimes slightly bricky hands, but nothing unplayable, so I might adjust the ratios a bit. 3 Ash, really self-explanatory, stops a lot of problem cards, a lot of nasty combos. Really shiny.
Very good interruption.
Yeah. 3 Bell. I choose to run Bell in the main deck because I have found from personal experience that it hits a lot of problem cards, and it can do at least something in every matchup, where I've noticed that Ghost Ogre can sometimes negatively impact you based on what you're going up against, like, say, dinosaurs.
Oh, them dinos.
3 Valor. This, if I cut any hand traps, this will probably be the one I do cut. I tend to side this out a lot. Only goes off during your opponent's turn, so it doesn't have as much utility, but going second, it can still save it. So if I cut it, I'll probably put it in the side. And then I run a Nightmare Engine, so I main deck 1 copy of Ibly. If I can get 2 differently named monsters on the field without my normal summon, which is fairly easy to do, I can, as long as I don't get Ash, I can end on a Laurel Sword. Into the spells, run a lot of them. 3 Engage, bread and butter of the deck, does basically everything you need it to do. It is a search, it's a +1, it's Pot of Greed's little sister. 3 Widowmaker. Glad this is a TCG and not the OCG because I can play 3. Gets you out of a lot of sticky situations, so you do have to be a bit careful with how you use it, because if you resolve the secondary effect too early in the turn, you can actually screw yourself over by filling up one of your main zones. Now, I personally run 2 Afterburners instead of the one a lot of people run, because it's, well, for one, its secondary effect is really nice. But I run it at 2 because it lets me take care of those really nasty boss monsters. Like, I had one matchup against Dinos where the guy was able to summon 2 Ultimate Conductors, and I was able to loop the 2 of these to completely clear his board and swing for game. Similarly, I run 2 Jamming Waves, but I do often side one or the both out based on matchup. Another possible cut I'll make to the deck if I can find something really aggressive to put in their place, but just as filler cards to be sided out, they do their job. Like with Afterburners, the secondary effect is really useful if you can resolve it. 2 multi-roll, a lot of 2-ofs. One of the absolute best cards in the deck. It does a lot of crazy things. It protects you. It lets you recur up to 6 cards out of your graveyard based on your field state. And it's got a really trolly interaction with Shizuku, which I'll explain when I get to her for anyone who lives under a rock. Another 2 of the field spell. Same interaction with Ray as multi-roll. If I open this and Ray, I can usually get a very solid board based on the rest of the cards in my hand, so it's definitely worth running. You don't want to run 3 because it's really searchable though. 1 Drones, the most degenerate card of the deck that made every other deck absurdly powerful until it got limited. I almost never actually play it. I run it because it's essentially an extra copy of Rey, but in pure Sky Strikers, you'd rather see Rey herself than drones. One Hercules base. I usually search this out mid-game to help recycle my Link monsters. I might resolve it earlier in the game if I've already burnt through all 3 copies of Engage, which does happen more often than you might think based on your opening hand. Like if I open 2, or heaven forbid 3 Engage, I will resolve this as quickly as I can to keep my plays going. One Shark Cannon can snipe a problem monster out of your opponent's graveyard if they're trying to recur it, and it's one of the many ways you can get 2 differently named monsters without a normal summon. Eagle Booster at 1, really situational, but I would not cut it because it protects your Boral Sword when you can't quite swing for game and need to buy another turn. 3 Called by the Grave, one of the best cards ever in my opinion. A lot of people use it to snipe hand traps, but I personally also use it similarly to Shark Cannon to snipe problem monsters out of my opponent's graveyard, or to completely stall their play by, again, dinosaurs. My opponent tried to resolve Baby Ceresaurus, and I sniped it out of the grave with Called, and he had to end his turn. 2 Terraforming for searching the field spell. Based on the matchup, I side these out a lot because they're not necessary, but if I open one of these, I can for sure have at least 1 spell in my grave, which can speed things up. 1 Rhoda, extra copy of Rey. No reason not to run it if you have the space. For traps, I choose to run 3 Infinite Impermanence, which is another reason I might possibly cut Veiler, because this makes it essentially 12 hand traps. I like Infinite better because you can activate it on your turn, and it can't be sniped by Called or Aqua Dolphin, even though that's kind of fallen out of favor. So now for the extra deck. Pretty standard for the most part. 3 Hayate, really good option for going second, not so good going first, but the fact it's a direct attacker means that you can steal some games with it. 3 Kagari, one of the best Link monsters in the deck, one of the best Link monsters in the game, I would say. The ability to basically infinitely recycle Engage is absurd. She can also help swing for game sometime. In the grind game, Graveyard full of spells, I've had her get up to nearly 4,000 attack once.
That's a lot of spells.
That's a lot of spells. I think I had like 3 cards left in my deck. Shizuku helps with going first, helps with searching out Engage or whatever combo piece you need. Her interaction with multi-roll, for anyone who's been living under a rock, is that say you end your turn with Engage in the grave, you can have multi-roll set that Engage. Well, you have it Chain Link 1 Shizuku, Chain Link 2 multi-roll. You have multi-roll set the Engage, and then when Shizuku goes to resolve, Engage is no longer in your grave, so you can search out another copy. Based on my opening hand, I can potentially dig for all 3 copies of Engage through that interaction. Clara and Rushka for the Altergeist matchup, because Hidden Village is an instant loss unless I can make her. I haven't really played any Altergeist decks ever, though, with Sky Strikers, so if I ever need to fit something in, this will be what's cut, though knowing my luck, as soon as I cut it, everyone will play Altergeist. Now, I mentioned I play the Nightmare package, so 2 Mermaid, 1 Phoenix. This is how I make Boral Sword. There have been times where I wanted Cerberus instead of Phoenix. That's mine. Yeah. Helps snipe back row. Helps make Boral Sword. Might replace it with Cerberus to help get rid of problem monsters, and then there is a Koshik to finish the engine. So the combo is you get 2 differently named monsters, so you can summon Phoenix, and then you snipe a back row if you need to. Then you use Phoenix to make Mermaid and use her effect to summon Ibly, and then you link that into a second Mermaid. And then you summon Ibly to your opponent's field in front of the extra monster zone. You use these 2 to make a Koshik, bounce the Ibly to your hand, and then you normal Ibly to revive your Phoenix or your Cerberus underneath a Koshik. And then you can dig for a card if you feel you need it. And then you link the 4 of them away for, well, 3 of them away for Borrelsword, who every time I have resolved the Nightmare Engine to summon Borrelsword, I've won. Maybe not on that turn based on what the field is and what their life is, but I will win. I think I've only lost once after summoning Borrelsword, and that was just because Borrelsword got spun off the field. For my side deck, I run 2 Pinkertops. It's better Cyber Dragon. It's really good for baiting out negates. Not today, but there have been many times in more casual games where my opponent will have, say, Cyber Dragon Infinity. I summon it, target Infinity with its effect. It's already off the field, so they can't negate it, and their Infinity dies. 3 Ghost Ogre to side in for matches where I actually do need it. Really self-explanatory. Interesting interaction with Borrelsword, being that Ghost Ogre is the only Ghost Girl whose effect can activate on field. If you need to summon a monster for Borrelsword to switch to defense, you can summon her, and then on your opponent's turn, if they attempt to activate any monster or continuous effect, you can tribute her to stop it. This is a recent addition that I'm not sure is going to stay. 3 Gameciel. I used to be running 3 Metaion for the Thunder Dragon matchup, but I haven't seen anyone play it in a few weeks because of the hits to the deck, so I didn't really need them anymore. So the Gameciels are in for testing to see if they help out in the long run. 2 Shared Ride, because it's Shared Ride and helps you draw throughout your whole deck. If your opponent's stupid enough to play into it, which oftentimes they are. Now this is a bit unusual. I run 3 D-Barrier because the environment here at my locals is somewhat casual and roguish. So there's a lot of fusion, there's a lot of exceeds, there's a lot of synchro, and if I feel I need to stop one of those power plays, I have the option. And then, finally, 2 Heavy Storm for matchups where I need to snipe back row. I go with Heavy Storm instead of Twin Twisters because I can activate this under Anti-Spell, which has saved me before. And that's the deck. Got 2nd place, could have gotten 1st if I wasn't a complete moron, but hindsight's 20/20.
Alright, it's been fun, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and all that. So, Kyle, Upstart41, sign off. Peace.